Hello and welcome back to the Lincoln Loco 2. Today, it's the start of a brand new season and we are in League One. League One, which is ridiculous. We started out in Step 8 and we're now in Step 3, the third tier of English Football League One. It's crazy. Today we're going to be playing against Hull, the first game on camera. We have played one league game. We played against Crewe just before this game. I thought Hull would be a much better game to do for the first episode of the season, given that Hull's only about an hour away or so from Lincoln, and Lincoln City and Hull used to have quite a rivalry back when I was a young lad. I just thought it'd be quite fitting. We played Crewe just before this game, and we drew 0-0. Crewe were the team that got promoted with us last season from League 2. I think they won the league, actually. So a 0-0 result there, not all that bad. Hull, though, is going to be the real test, because Hull got relegated last season. Hull should not be in League One. It's probably going to be a real crash course in how difficult this season is going to be. Right then, a lot to update you on from last time out. We've played all through summer, of course, all through pre-season. A lot of faces have gone and an awful lot of players have come in. We've got to have to tell you about a lot of stuff. But first of all, last episode, after we picked up loads of money from ticket sales and prize money and solidarity payments and things like that, and we asked the board to give us some better training and better youth facilities, and they said no. And I've been working on them all summer, and I mean it, all summer. Every opportunity I had to ask the board, I did ask. I think I've asked about 5 times, and eventually they have caved into my demands. If we look onto the boardroom here, and we look at what's going on at the club, when it wants to load, it's taking a bit of its time. Right, so we're currently working through our new stadium. Our new stadium we built for the start of next season, which is very exciting. We've just got the youth facilities to be upgraded, so they'll be done in time for October next season. I think the facility upgrade starts at the end of this season, so we've still got a while to wait for that even to start, but it should be done by the 6th of October next year, so in time for next season. And the very same thing for the training facilities. They'll be finished just 2 or 3 weeks after the youth facilities, also 22nd of October 2027. So they're all on the way. New stadium, new training facilities and new youth facilities. We've also, another big thing, we've also managed to increase our junior coaching budget and our youth recruitment budget. So now if we look onto facilities, we can see that our junior coaching youth recruitment is both average, which is better than poor, which is what it used to be. And as you can see as well, we're also moving to our new 5,100 capacity stadium at the start of next season as well. So it's all go off the field at Lincoln United at the moment. All go. Loads of stuff happening, so hopefully next season is going to be a real big boost in terms of facilities and crowds and everything like that, and hopefully we'll have much better regens coming in as well. Right then, on to transfers, and there's been quite a lot of it, I've got to say, an awful lot of transfers going on, so we'll go through that. The big news is that Mark Mason is still at the club. We offered him out for £1 million, no one wanted him. We offered him out for £500,000, no one wanted him. £250,000, no one wanted him, and I didn't want to sell him for less than that. So he got very cross with me. He's all right now. He just got very cross with me at the start of pre-season for trying to sell him. But no one wanted him for £250,000 or more. So we decided not to let him go instead. He's still at the club and hopefully is going to be banging another 20 goals this season. If we go on to the actual transfers then, we let go of a few players. Wakely and Hall, the most notable ones, just because they wanted a lot of money and weren't going to be good enough. Josh Coley also left the club after scoring 13 goals last season and 6 assists. However, he probably will come back to the club. At that time, we wanted £1,200 and we did contract negotiations, and I wasn't going to pay that much money for him per week. So we let him go, and no club's come in for him since then. So we've offered him a new contract. So hopefully he will be joining us in the next 2 or 3 weeks or so on a lot less money than £1,200 per week. We've also sold Stefan Brockley as well to Forest Green Rovers for £25,000. So that was a lot of money. He's gone out, and it was a good deal to get some money, to be fair. They came in with the offer. It wasn't that brilliant Brockley, to be fair, and he wasn't going to get any better this season, so we decided to take Forest Green up on the offer, and he has gone. 3 more players have also gone out on loan. These are players that we have brought in this season. Now, our transfer policy this summer was just sign anyone that wants to join the club, because that kind of was how bad it was going to get, I think. So we have signed quite a few players with a lot of potential. Hopefully, we'll be able to either use them in a few seasons' time when they get a bit better, or sell them in, a season or two's time, for a bit of profit, and that's kind of my thinking on some of these transfers. So you can see 3 players here have already gone out on loan. So just very quickly, I suppose, we'll go over Craig Gott. He's a striker. He's gone to Newport County on loan. He's not actually that bad of a striker, to be fair. If we didn't have 3 really good strikers ahead of him this season, he could have been starting for us, but decent player. He's a poacher or an advanced forward, has got a lot of potential, but he's gone to Newport on loan for the season. Same thing with Jared Murrell. He is a right back, who's gone to Halifax on loan. Very, very similar situation. If we didn't have Carroll and Atkinson at right back, he'd probably be the backup player this season, sort of thing. So he's gone out on loan as well. A lot of potential. And Jack Payne's gone to Stafford Town. He is the midfielder. He's a midfielder on the right-hand side of the pitch. And again, just very similar situation. A lot of potential. Wasn't going to break into the squad this season. So let's get him out on loan. They can pay his wages for him and improve him. And hopefully he'll come back a better player and worth a bit more money. So those three of those players there that we'll just brush over very quickly. On to the real deal now. Let's get on with Dylan Monk, who's come in from Bury on a free transfer. He is a striker. He's going to be... We signed him actually thinking, Mason might go. We need another big striker coming in. So Dylan Monk came in. 4-star current ability, 4.5-star potential, advanced forward, but can play anywhere across that attacking midfield, which I think is really useful. The past 2 seasons had a pretty abysmal scoring record with only 2 goals in the past 2 seasons, 1 goal apiece. But before that, 17 goals for Barnet and 15 goals for Barnet is a pretty good return, I've got to say. So if we can get him back to that kind of form, I think he could be a really top striker for us this season. Sean Hawkins comes in on loan from Birmingham. He's a central midfielder and hopefully going to be the maestro as our box-to-box midfielder this season. 3.5-star current ability and 5-star potential. Decent player. Not played any games really. Played 2 games in the Championship last season for Birmingham, I suppose, but didn't really do much. But played a lot in their under-19 squad or under-23 squad and did quite well, I think. So it's worth a shot this season, I think, to see what he can do. We've also brought in another striker in Patrick Marshall from Barnsley, pressing forward, so offers a bit of an alternative to Monk and to Mason up there. So I think this season we may go for a 2-striker option. So hopefully Patrick Marshall will really blossom this season. He's come from Barnsley, as I said before, made a few appearances for them in the Championship, and nothing too major, but has scored 18 goals last season in 15 starts, which I think is pretty decent going. So hopefully, if he can recapture that kind of form, he will be a really useful asset for us this season. Next up, central midfielder Joseph Nankwo on a free transfer. I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce his surname. I think Nankwo is perhaps the best way, but if you've got a better idea in the comment section, please do let me know. He comes in 3-star current ability and 4.5-star potential from Bristol City, where he's not made a senior appearance for them yet, but has played pretty well in their youth squads over the past few seasons. You can see sort of down here some of these average ratings and things like that. Had a season in the Premier League with them, so he has got, a pretty decent upbringing in terms of football ability, so hopefully he'll be decent. He is going to be accompanied in the centre of midfield with Eddie Muggleridge. Now, I think he is going to be a decent player in the future. Again, another player that we sort of bought, but we think we look into the future with this kind of signing. But actually, I think we'll slot into the first team straight away with 3-star current ability and 4.5-star potential. He comes in after an unsuccessful time at West Ham. If you've been released, I suppose, it must be an unsuccessful period at the club. So, unsuccessful to break into West Ham's first team, but will break into ours. Already played the 1 game for us, so he already has done. But again, played for their youth team for a fair bit and done alright-ish. Not anything special, but hopefully for us will really blossom and become a really good player. Another central midfielder comes in, Zach Brunt. We needed a few central midfielders, I've got to say. He comes in more of a backup player, Zach Brunt. He just gives us a bit of an option in that midfield in case a few players get injured, sort of thing. So don't expect to see him too much. We'll probably get sold on in a few seasons' time, but has been around a little bit. Never played for Sheffield Wednesday. I think his first senior appearance actually was for Matlock on loan, but properly broke into the Boreham Wood side, the Billericay side of the past few seasons, and has now come to us where he'll just sort of sit on the bench, I think, more than anything else. Craig Gott, we have already spoken about, as we have Jared Murrell, so let's not worry about them. David Marshall is up next, another free transfer. He is a centre-back. We need to try and improve on that area, and again, 18 years old, 2.5-star current ability, 5-star potential. He's a player with the potential. He's one of these young guys that we've brought in, but due to our lack of recruitment at the back, he has got a shout, actually, of starting and playing a few games this season. So he comes in from Everton, so he's got a good pedigree of football. He's got League One potential, so hopefully if he progresses pretty quickly, he could actually become an integral part of our side over the next 2 or 3 seasons or so. I'm not sure how long we're going to be in League One. We might be only here 1 season if we get relegated, for example. So it could be, he could be a really useful player for us, and if he can get some game time at this level, his development will really accelerate, I think. Next up, Jake Webb, another player on a free transfer and another 18-year-old. You see the trend here. He's a left back. He's going to be the backup left back this season, and Turiak's not going to be our first choice. Turiak's going to move up towards that more midfield position that he wants to be in. So we have brought another left back in, but this guy is going to be the backup. We might send him out on loan in case we might switch and Turiak has to become the left back again, maybe, because I want to play Turiak and this guy might go out on loan. But I think he's going to be a decent player. Again, 2.5-star current ability and 5-star potential. Has come in from Liverpool this time, where again, he's played, actually, we didn't play any games last season at all, but for the youth team this season, or the season before that, sorry, played a lot of games, good ratings as well. So I think he's going to be a good player in future, and hopefully a lot of these players that we're bringing in, these young ones, give them 3 seasons, they'll all be first team players for Lincoln United. Next up, Nathan McGinley. He comes in as another left back. He is the first choice left back this season. Surprisingly, he's actually quite an old player. I'd usually go for youngsters, but this guy, 29 years old. What are you on about, Tom? That is old. 3-star current ability and 3-star potential, of course. But left back, really, really good, I think. Played very well in the past few seasons. Well, I say very well. He's played for Cheltenham the past few seasons. I don't know about well or not, but has been around quite a bit after starting his career at Middlesbrough, going on to Wycombe, Forest Green, Exeter, and spent the last 4 seasons at Cheltenham. So, fingers crossed, he's going to be a real star man for us this season and fire us to safety. Next up, we don't need to talk about him too much because he was here last season. He's the man that pretty much got us through the playoffs. Tony Russell deserved a chance to come back, I think. We didn't have anyone on the right hand side of the pitch either, so he was the only player that sort of wanted to come to us that we could kind of afford. 3-star current ability, 5-star potential. Again, we don't need to talk about him too much. Played here last season for most of it, and hopefully we'll do the same again. Again, Jack Payne, already spoken about him going out on loan, so let's ignore that. Stuart Strugnell comes in on a free transfer. He's another centre-back. As I said, we were a bit short on the ground on centre-backs. And again, only 2.5-star current ability and 5-star potential. 18 years old, but just like his counterpart that we spoke about earlier, David Marshall, that was his name. He's going to be a pretty good player in future, I think, but perhaps not right now. But just because we don't have that many good centre-backs, he could play an important part this season after being with West Brom in his youth career. Only 3 more to talk about, but the first one is quite a big one. Barry Porter comes in on loan from Wolves. He's a centre-back. Now, we had a few players, to be fair, lined up on loan, a few centre-backs and a goalkeeper as well, all of whom were very good, all of whom had the bids accepted by the clubs, all of whom decided, no, Lincoln United's not for us. So we got a little bit stuck. Barry Porter, though, did decide to come to us with 3.5-star credibility and 5-star potential. He's going to be our leading centre-back this season, I think. Going to be really, really good. As you can see, played at Wolves for a long time, and hopefully will do very well for us. Next up, we've paid a fee for a player, Ruben Samut from Chesterfield, 12.5k. He was on the transfer list there, so I thought it was a pretty good deal. He comes in as a CDM. We didn't have one, so we needed one. But he comes in with 73 international caps for Malta. I mean, it's Malta, so let's not get too excited. But 73 international caps is pretty decent. He's going to bring a wealth of experience to the squad. Even if he doesn't play every game, he's going to be so experienced. I think he's going to really benefit a lot of the players and the youngsters especially. So I'm excited to see how he's going to do this season. He's been around quite a bit, playing from Chelsea to Falkirk to MK Dons to Chesterfield. So a good player. I think 12.5k is a bit of a steal for him. So I think he's going to be worth his money this season. And finally, another centre-back has come in, Henry Classy. He comes in, another centre-back, 3-star current ability, 4-star potential. So actually, now that he's come in just in the past few days or so. I think literally just before I started recording this. I got to this stage last night and then decided to come to this, but he must have just joined. So one of those youngsters will probably go out on loan because that means we've got 5 centre-backs then. So they're all transfers. A lot of them have come in and hopefully it's going to be enough to fire us to safety. There are a few more, as I mentioned, Josh Coley might come in. There's another attacking player that might come in as well that we need to keep our eyes out on, but I don't think we're going to be signing many more than this. Here's the league table then. After one game, we are 13th after our 0-0 draw, so that's not too bad to be fair. But as you can see, a whole mix of teams in here. Hull and Middlesbrough both in this division, which is very interesting. Leyton Orient here as well. They got relegated last season. Leyton Orient have been all the way up to the Championship. Chesterfield are here as well. MK Dons, Millwall are back down here as well. So there's a whole mix of teams here. A very interesting makeup, I think, of this division. And hopefully we'll survive it. But there are 4 relegation slots. 4 is quite a lot. And when you consider that, looking at the season preview, we are down in, I think we are still down in 24th. We did go up to 23rd at one point, but I do feel like we probably have dropped back down to 24th on the season. We have just about. Shrewsbury were just below us, but no, we have dropped back down below Shrewsbury, that is. Thing is, though, last season, it said the same thing, and then we got promoted. So it all just shows you what a good start to the season can do. I'm not sure. I mean, I highly doubt we'll have the same start to the season, and I highly doubt we should be anywhere. I just don't really understand why we did so well last season, but we did. I mean, that cannot happen again this season. Surely that just can't happen again this season. I think we really should and will be in a relegation battle this season, and I think we probably will get relegated. That is kind of how hopeful I am this season. We played Crewe and drew against them, which isn't too bad, but they were also promoted last season as well. So it is kind of like playing a team on our level playing field. As previously mentioned, Hull that we're playing against today is going to be a whole different ball game. So before we get into this game, if you've not done it already, why not subscribe? Because, I mean, being here for the journey. The journey's a long way to go. We've still got a long way to go in this journey to, I don't know, the Champions League at some point with Lincoln United. So if you're not already, why not subscribe? Get yourself on the journey, and we'll get going. So you'll be pleased to know that Jed Andrew is still in the sticks this season. He's our only goalkeeper because we neglected to look for other ones over summer. We had priorities in other positions. But I'm confident Jed Andrew will do a sterling job this season. We've got a back line today of McGinley, our new left back, Porter, our new other centre back, but then familiar faces in Dan Happy and Mitch Atkinson. I should probably mention as well, we have moved back to the 4-4-2 this season, just because I think we need a slightly more defensive formation, and we do have 3 really good strikers, and I think it's a waste to not use them all. So that's why we've gone back to the 4-4-2. Turiak back in his more favoured position of left midfielder. In the middle, we've got the 2 new centre midfielders. We've got Muggeridge as our deep lane playmaker and Hawkins as our box-to-box midfielder on loan from Birmingham. And of course, Russell starting on the right-hand side. He's on loan from Norwich, of course, here from last season still. And then up front, we've got new striker Patrick Marshall, the one who's on loan from, was it Barnsley or was it Bristol? It'll stay here, won't it? Barnsley. And then we've got Mark Mason, our leading man the past 3 seasons. Still can't believe just how good he actually is. 77 goals in 121 league appearances, 9 assists, 18 player of the matches, a 7.18 average rating. Why no one bought him for £1 million, I don't know. But I'm happy, actually, because he's still here at the club and hopefully will give us another 20 goals this season. Right then, kickoff is upon us here today. Let me know in the comment section I know there's a lot of them, but which signing do you think is the best? Which one do you like the look of the most? And let me know as well, where do you think we're going to finish this season? Personally, I think it's going to be a relegation battle. I think we'll be very lucky not to get relegated. But again, I said that last season, and of course things turned out very differently. So I'm not quite sure, but I mean, I kind of hope it is a relegation battle. As much as I do like winning games and things like that, I do think we shouldn't be here, and I do think if we were in another promotion battle sort of thing, the game must be broken, because I just don't understand how we could be there. We are coming forward, though, as Marshall gets the ball out wide, the new left back. He plays it back to the new centre-back, Porter, who plays it back forward, and I don't quite know what was going on there, but Turiak does retain possession. Hawkins was absolutely free in the middle there, but put it wide of the post. Really should have done it a lot better there, but I'm very pleased to say, but look at the match stats so far. Maybe Football Manager just hears me saying we should be rubbish and thinks, oh no, we're gonna make you really good instead. Because I can't explain why we have been doing so well and why we're doing so well against Hull right now, who have championship quality and probably some premiership quality players in their lineup. You'll also be pleased to know that as we approach half-time at 0-0, gone very, very quickly that first half, but look at those stats. Blimey, that is amazing. You'll be pleased to know Joe Howell signed a new contract at the club. We have had to more than double his wages to keep him at the club. After he had two seasons where he took pay cuts, and then this season decides he wants more than double, which I thought was a bit weird, but that's what the situation is at least. He's being paid more than double what he was last season, but he's injured right now. Picked up a hip injury or something like that, so we'll be back soon, but won't be right now, as we have an attendance of 2,500, 1,300 come from Hull, but we do for once manage to outnumber, we actually outnumber the away fans, do we? No, we don't. Hull actually outnumber us. We must have brought about 1,200. They've brought 1,300. So they do just about outnumber us, but it's still a very healthy attendance. Thank you very much, Hull, for bringing all those fans with you. Highlight right now, and it's going to Hull. All right. Harris on the ball, shoots over the bar, which is fine. Now, normally, I'd be fine losing this game against Hull. They should walk all over us. But when you look at these match stats, if we end up losing this game now, I will be really, really cross. We are going to make some changes, though. A few injuries do mean we've basically got only centre-backs and midfielders on the bench at the moment, so that's a bit of an issue. Muggeridge is looking a little bit tired out there, so we're going to bring on Nakwo on the pitch for Muggeridge, although I'm not quite sure he's much of a deep line playmaker. Is Zach Brunt a playmaker? I've still got to learn which position and what kind of roles all these players like. Brunt's a playmaker, so let's bring Brunt on for him. To be fair, Hawkins actually very tired as well, so I think it's probably worth maybe bringing Nankwo on for him as well in that box-to-box midfielder role. But again, Nankwo doesn't like that much. So to be fair, Nankwo doesn't really like to do anything in midfield apart from defend. So he might be a bit of a useless player sometimes. Either way, they're the two changes that we'll make in the middle of the park. Hopefully we stay solid there at least and hold out for this draw. Highlight though is coming for Hull in that with only 3 minutes to go, although we have just one possession back. And if we can grab a late winner here, which we're not going to do with balls like that, that would be great. But unfortunately, things do look like it's going to go Hull's way as they sort of just pass the ball around at the back, trying to bring it out. Slowly they do into our half. Harris is through on his own, but not challenged. Not challenged at all. And that's what happens when you just switch off for 1 second at the end of the game. No one goes to tackle him. He shoots from distance, and that's what Hull's quality has. We have outplayed them all game, I've got to say. Turiak's free kick is our number 7 this season because he's going to move into that midfield position. We made him number 7 instead rather than number 3 that he was last season. Just that extra little bit of quality Hull have, despite us walking all over them in terms of shots and things like that. They are going to pick up the 3 points here today, and I do feel like that we deserved at least a point in that game, but this is League One now, and we need that quality. We don't have that quality yet. Hull do, and that's what it gets you. 3 points from a shot like that. So Lincoln fall to late defeat, which is true. That is a bit upsetting, but, you know, it's not all doom and gloom, I suppose, because we did play very, very well in that game. We were just quite unlucky at the end. I think there's actually quite a lot to be excited about from that game. Hopefully, if we can sort of replicate the performances in that, we might not be as bad as you think we might be this season. I don't know. Next episode, we're going to go all the way through to Exeter and Middlesbrough, 2 home games on the bounce. Gives enough time to get through some of these cup games. So hopefully next time we'll get a much better picture of where we're going to be this season. So thank you very much for watching today's episode. If you've enjoyed it, please do drop a like on the video for me and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. And I'll see you next time for some more Lincoln Loco action.